welcome to BCB Live. Yes, indeed, we are the safest station in the nation. Hey, glad to have you here this afternoon as we just want to discuss, random news around going on right now. And not so random, right, when we talk about the vaccine mandate. And really what I want to talk about is what will that really do to this industry of ours? And, what do we really think that what's going to happen on that? And I'm just going to start by just going over some of the news regarding that. That may be news to some of you, but the trucking industry, we just found out right again that the pre-published rule for the federal mandate on the vaccinations just came out. The trucking industry, hey, we're not part of the exempted list. Okay, and we go back and we look at this, that January 4th is the effective date for the mandate, termed an emergency temporary standard. Under the mandate, with companies with 100 or more employees have to ensure workers are fully vaccinated or undergo regular COVID testing. And there are some rules on that. And the TCA comes out and they say, hey, to the dismay of the TCA and our partners across the transportation sector, trucking was not exempted. They also go on to say that the TCA repeatedly called on the administration to heed our warnings regarding this mandate's impact on the already constrained supply. Yet they chose to proceed with the disastrous mandate, which will undoubtedly ensure the trucking industry loses a substantial amount of drivers. They also say these are the drivers this country is reliant on to deliver food, fuel, and presents for the upcoming holiday season. Yet our national leadership has decided these needs must go unmet. And we talk about that after we had a Say What segment last week talking about, the industry stepping up and what we've got to do as we get the ports to go. And President Biden says, we, the industry, have got to step up, logistic companies, private sector, we've got to do it. And now we have this. And my thought on today's show was, let's just talk about this. I mean, what's this really going to do? And if you have a question, comment, I'm going to encourage you to raise your hand, make some comments on that. We'll call on you and go over that. I do want us to look at some things, though, while we're talking about the industry. So we look at it and we talk about what we can't afford really to lose any drivers during this period. So we're going to look at some of these, we're going to look at the freight volume again, those that are new to this. We spend a lot of time looking at the freight volume across America, and we're going to start right here with the volume. We look over the last year with the volume shipping out. You see us very high at 15,436. Those of you that have followed the show before, that have paid attention, look, here's going all the way back to 19 and 18. This is normally what we're shipping out right here. You see that mark at about 10,000 since COVID. And what we continually talk about is how around the month of August of last year during COVID year, the freight really kind of normalized, and it really hasn't changed. You can see it right here. We've hung out in that 15,000 mark or greater. It's like the 15,000 is the new 10,000. And again, what that means is we're looking at years past shipping out 10,000 loads a day. Today in the market, the new freight cycle says, well, we're going to ship out about 15,000 loads a day. That's 5,000 more loads a day being shipped out. I also want us to look at this. We also talk about utilization. We spoke about it today on the show, and when we look straight across the board on utilization of a driver's hours. So again, those that aren't real familiar with that, a driver in general has 11 hours a day they can work. 11 hours they can drive. Let me take that back. A 14-hour workday, they're able to drive 11. As an industry goes, if we look at just the last 6 months, you can see right now we're about 6.65 average hours used of a driver's 11-hour day. So think about the inefficiencies that we have today already. And now we're going to throw in another, and we talk about it. We hear about what's going on, the mess out in California and all over the East Coast, West Coast. The ports are a mess. We've seen pricing today just go as high as we've ever seen it on transportation. We've seen a driver shortage. That's true. The ATA says it's around 80,000 today, a driver shortage of 80,000 today. We talked about today an industry that let's face it, that we don't treat our drivers the best yet. And we want more people to somehow come into this industry. And here we go. We have a mess going on right now in this country. And all of a sudden, we're going to mandate that the drivers, the drivers that are moving America today, that if they aren't vaccinated, that they're going to have to follow the rules. And do we just think that through? What does that mean? I mean, that means a truck driver may start his or her day at a truck stop at the Love station in Maryland. And now they've got to go and get a test somewhere to get that done before they start their day. The freight that was scheduled to pick up already, we now have to change our pickup appointment, our delivery appointments around a vaccination that the driver must go get. The driver, I mean, if you think about what that does to a driver, that can ruin a driver's whole day. We made it, needed him to go out that day, and he was ready to go at 6, but where he's getting his test at doesn't open until 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. He can't go in. His day is shot. Her day is shot. And now they waited all day to get the test, right? Maybe the result comes back, but now they have to go out and run a load. They've been up. Their normal cycle says it's time for me to go to work. But I can't go to work. I have to go get my test right now. And now I'm leaving at 2 in the afternoon. And I've been up since 6. Is it really what's safe? Is it even feasible? We're going to miss out on freight. We're going to miss out on drivers. Drivers are going to quit. And I want to hear it from you. I mean, trust me, we have an industry that we need you. We don't need you to quit. We got to figure this out. At the end of the day, we have to get on this exemption list, right? I mean, y'all have done it. You stay in your bubble anyway. Your bubble's a truck. You're not going out all over the place. You're hanging out pretty much in one of the most well-defined bubbles that we have in this country. My question to you is what are your thoughts on this? I mean, for you especially that work for companies that are greater than 100, does that mean you're going to leave them and go somewhere else? Because if you're not at 100 or more, right, employees, well, you don't have to follow that same mandate. Is it an unfair advantage for the smaller companies versus the bigger companies? Those companies that have gone out and acquired these customers, acquired these assets, have spent the money on you, to make sure that we're doing the best for the driver. All of a sudden, do you have to leave that company because you're not vaccinated? And if you go work for this company, you don't have to get tested. Seems kind of crazy. It almost doesn't. It almost, I would say, doesn't make sense. Producer, who do we have?
Yeah, so John Naylor is asking what if there are religious reasons for getting or not receiving the vaccine. So, John, I think I can actually answer this one for you. I looked something up just to see where we're at with that. So, as of right now, there is a right to request a religious exemption, and that stems from Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. But I think right now it's simply a request to have that religious exemption. There's not a whole lot of clarity on that right now, and it's very dependent on the person. I don't think that OSHA or anybody in the government itself has given a statement on religious exemptions in terms of the mandate that we're seeing right now. And Sir Rick, if you can comment to that as well, or have any additional information that would be helpful for this.
Yeah, that's a great, I think you did a good job of that. I would assume the same thing. I'm going to go right with you on that. It makes sense that I've heard the same, you have to apply for some kind of exemption, right? And maybe that's where it goes. But again, I struggle with that as well as we start moving to the exemptions. I mean, at the end of the day, do I need to go out there and just claim that as the reason and then it's okay that I drive? It's kind of defeating the purpose as well. I just think we've got to realize what industry are, who the essential folks are, and what they've done, and the fact that, let's face it, we have an aging industry that's 55 plus, pretty much. Most of the drivers are at that point. I'm almost 55, and I'm stubborn. It's hard for me to change my mind. Is the answer to push me out of the industry? Is that what we're doing to again to make this to make our this logistics, this logistical nightmare even worse? Is that what we're after? Producer, give me somebody else.
Yeah, we got a few callers here. So we got Curtis Benedict and then Mike Campbell and Tommy Jones. So Curtis, what do you got for us, sir?
Well, I just want to sort of speak on that religious part of it. I was told that if you've ever had any kind of shots before, or if you've taken aspirin, or if you've taken any kind of medication to get over flu or something like that, well, then you're not going to be part of that exemption. So if they can prove that you've taken that stuff, you're pretty much out of luck. Now, as for getting the shot, Rick, I have not. I have no desire to get it. My thing is they aren't showing the data that says this is safe. Now, I know everybody says, well, when you're in the military, you get all these shots. And yes, I was in the military. I got all my shots. But there's decades of data saying that those shots are safe. I mean, decades. And this shot has only been around for what, a year and a half? Where's the data? Show me some data that it's safe. My doctor, I've already talked to her. She says it's safe. But I think the government would do a whole lot better job getting drivers to comply, or getting people to comply, if they would just be honest and show the data saying that it's safe. So that's all I've got.
Yeah, you know what, I appreciate that, and I'm trying to find the line too. Or there was conversation yesterday, kind of going along the same line as what you're talking about the history of the shot, right? I mean, history of shots, of vaccinations we've had, how there's been a record of it, and there was a quote yesterday from somebody, I can't remember from which probably from the, I don't even know who it's from, but they mentioned exactly what you're saying, is that, once everybody gets the shot, then we will know that it works. And I'm thinking, well, that's probably not the answer. I don't think that's the answer we're looking for, that we want to be the guinea pigs, the mice for this thing. And I hear what you're saying on that, and that's an argument that many people have had, and it's your right to have that same thing. But I think you're absolutely right. It's not even an argument, is that, let's face it, there's no data on this. There can't be much, because it's pretty new. I mean, we have the data right now. We just don't have the historical, I guess, is what we don't know what's going to happen in 10 years from now. We don't know that. It hadn't been around that long. I will say this, hey, producers, that I remember when COVID came out. And I remember when we did the show, I was saying, oh, come on, it can't take that long to get a shot at. How can, there's a lot of smart people in there. Somebody can figure this out. We feel like we haven't figured out, and now we don't want the shot. So it kind of goes against both ways too. We wanted the shot, right? Because we don't want to die from this COVID, and I get both sides of it. And I'm not here, I guess, really to talk about the COVID, more on that mandate. When you go out and you get that, if it's mandated, what are you going to do? Are you going to stick with this company, with this industry, or are you going to search for that smaller company? Producer, who do we have?
Yeah, so we got a few others. Also, if anybody is interested in seeing data, there was a study done on 43,000 people from the New England Journal of Medicine, where they did test the safety of the vaccine. So if you are curious and want to make your own assessment of that data and see where you are with it, I am more than happy to send that to you. I'm not promoting the vaccine or anything like that. Just
maybe you
more
can maybe you can put that out here on the, maybe you can put that on here and put it on the clip for those to see on that. I think it's always good. It's a great thing for us to educate ourselves. I don't think we're out there condoning anything. At the end of the day, we're all still kind of learning And this is a very opinionated subject
Yeah,
here right now,
and
right?
again,
Either
like
you want the shot or you don't.
Yeah, your body, your choice. Like I
Yep.
do not want to even. Yeah, you do as you will because it is your body. But we do have Mike Campbell, Tommy Jones, and Lonnie Payne on the line.
Hey,
So what do you
Mr.
got
Campbell,
for us,
how you
Mr.
doing,
Campbell?
sir?
Good, how you doing?
Doing wonderful.
Hey, I already had the virus. Now, of course, they called it SARS instead of COVID, but it's the same thing. I got bad lungs. I got COPD real bad, and I lived through it. I know a lot of people that's got vaccinated that's a lot healthier than me that's had major problems. And I guess if it comes right down to it, I'm either going to have to quit the industry altogether or find a smaller company.
Thank you for that, Mr. Campbell. And that's kind of what we're getting at, right? Because you have a choice at that moment when this happens. Do you want to spend that day working for that company with greater than 100 employees? Do you want to work for them and go get the shot, or go get the the testing done, go through all that work? Or do you want to go work for Brand X over here that has 75 trucks that can do the same thing, right?
I know some companies that have taken and split their company into smaller pieces. I guess what you call sub companies under the same company to get it down less than 100 employees, so that they didn't have to fall in line with this.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways around this, and I'll even go back to the producer. I'll ask this question here. I mean, what if you just found this religion? Can you go back to my past? I mean, come on now. I found Jesus, or I found this religion that doesn't mandate I get a shot. I mean, aren't I free from that? You can't go against my past sins.
That's the thing. And then also, who's to stop somebody from starting a religion and saying that this is my own thing, and it just becomes it's a slippery slope to go down. And I agree with you guys. I think, like, if you don't want to get the shot and you're working in this industry, I feel like you shouldn't have to. And that, like, I got both shots pretty early, but if you don't want to get it, you don't want to get it, and I don't feel like that shouldn't affect how you work.
In my mind, if it was so good, why would they be bribing you to get it?
Again, I get it. I get what we're saying on this. That's going to that personal preference, and that's what we have here in America, is that ability to do that. And for us to come down and place a mandate, again, we're not fixing anything. All we're doing is, it seems like we're herding, if we want to use that word, herding drivers from here over to these other companies, because as long as they're over there, or if that company wants to be creative and create a couple different companies, now all of a sudden they don't fall under it and life's good. I don't think that is the spirit of that either. I mean, I get what we're saying, but remember who these heroes were that we counted on to go out there and make these deliveries and to go out and keep America going. And if we have any kind of shortage right now, I mean, we're not far from this supply chain just being totally obliterated. I mean, what are we going to do when we don't have gas? What do we do when we don't have groceries at the thing? And we go grocery shopping today and they're not full. The shelves aren't full today. It's not going to take much for these delays to happen. And again, are we encouraging drivers just to go work for a smaller company? Is that right to the larger companies? And, a lot of larger companies don't like that as well. Why are you after us, and not the other guys? What's the difference if it's vaccinated, vaccinated? Hey, who do we have next?
I know it sounds like a conspiracy, but I think they're doing all this on purpose.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know. That's Drive Safe Dave. When he gets in here, we'll talk conspiracy. He's the king of that. Producer, give me somebody else here.
Yeah, so we just real quick before we get to anybody else, Alan Hennessy was asking, just somewhat unrelated, if you need a booster shot to travel to Ireland, and no, you do not, sir. You just have to be fully vaccinated and have proof of a COVID test there. We got Tommy Jones, then Lonnie Payne, and Gerald Baker. What do you guys got for us?
Good morning or good afternoon, Tommy Jones.
Yeah, great. How you doing today?
You know what? I'm doing absolutely wonderful, sir. What are you thinking about this mandate, and how will that affect you or your decision in this industry?
Rick, like I was saying the other day, I'm a Christian myself, and I believe in God with all my heart, and I follow Him daily, and pray to Him daily. And me and my wife, we were like Brian was here not too long ago. You know, we're skeptical about getting it because there wasn't no FDA approval. There wasn't, you know, no nothing. There wasn't, yeah. And so we just kind of waited. And me and my wife both had COVID back last December. And then when the FDA approved it, we went ahead and got our shots. You know, I've had both mine, and then I get my third one in March. So, but it's like you guys are saying, you know, it's the opinion of whether you want to or whether you don't want to, and regardless of whether you're religion or not, you know, I've even heard people say that to get your medical card back, you got to have proof of your vaccination. So, how true that is, I don't know. That's just what I've heard just a couple times around the internet. But you know, if it comes down to it, you know, it's going to have to be the choice. And like you said, you know, if we got to make it mandatory, then yeah, we're gonna have a crumble in the industry, and it's not going to be nice.
Yeah, and so Tommy, for you personally, does that mean you would look? I mean, are you ready to leave this industry yet, or would you make the choice to go to a smaller company versus where you are? And let's just start with that first. Would you stay in the industry, just go to a smaller company?
No, I wouldn't do it. You know, because regardless whether you go to a smaller company or not, crap runs downhill. So they start at the big people, and then eventually it's going to make it to the smaller people too. So you might as well just stay where you're at and buy is what I would suggest.
Gotcha. I appreciate that. We have another caller here. Is it Lonnie Payne next?
Yeah, we got Lonnie Payne coming up. What do you got for us, sir?
Good morning, El Patron. How are you?
Doing wonderful, Mr. Lonnie. Good to hear from you, sir.
You as well, sir. I was thinking about this. I've been thinking about it a lot. And, you know, Rick, there's no bigger proponent than you for accountability. And I also think that, and, you know, what strikes me as odd, not only do they not stand behind it, but there's no accountability for these people. You know, they want us to take it. Now they want to mandate it, but you have to sign a waiver that's saying they're not responsible for it. If 5 years from now, 10 years from now, something happens to you and it takes your life, they're not responsible for what they put in your body. And to me, that is the biggest kicker. I don't care what the FDA says. How come the drug manufacturer is not stepping up and saying, we're going to be accountable for our product? We have to be accountable every day for our actions and the product we put on the road. But yet they want to manufacture this and cram it down everybody's throat, but they don't want any accountability for it. And that's why I don't want to do it. I mean, we're frontline, essential. Since day one, we've been on these front lines doing what has to be done to keep the supply chain and keep everything running in America. And for those who've taken it, you know, it's their choice, and this is America. It's about a choice, but it's also my choice not to take it. I'm 61 years old. I don't want to take it. I don't want to put something in my body that I don't know and I don't trust, and I don't know what's going to, you know, be the end result from it. And nobody's going to be accountable for that. And, you know, as long as they're not going to be accountable for what goes in there and what it does to me, I'm not taking it. If it means that I don't have a job, then unless Miss Kendra wants to step up and start a spinoff company for less than 100, I guess I'm gone, you know, because I don't want to work for anybody else but you guys. But at the same time, if it means that I'm done in the industry after 30 years, and I was trying to hang in there and get that 3 million mile on the side of my truck, but you know, I didn't think I was done yet. But evidently, you know, somebody else may be driving the truck other than us. You know, seems like. That's just my thoughts on it, boss.
I appreciate it, Lonnie. Hey, thank you for what you
said.
Have
a blessed day.
Thank you,
Have
Lonnie.
a blessed day. # family. Love y'all.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Thank you, Lonnie. Love you too. And producer, he brings up some great points on there, right? I mean, some points that I hadn't brought up, and I'm hearing them right now, and it makes you think a little bit more on the accountability side, right?
Yeah, and he's 100% right. I mean, getting off of vaccines here for a second, just talking about medicine, it's the same thing we're seeing with Purdue pharmacies right now, with so many people who have died of opiate overdoses and that getting widespread throughout the country. They paid their settlement and moved on, and they are now officially not responsible for however many people have died from opiate overdose. And who's to say the same thing won't happen later on? I mean, we know we keep going back to slippery slope, but it feels like it.
Yeah, and I also, yeah, and I agree, and great point as well, and great example as well. And another thing that Lonnie had said is, you know what, we counted on these folks during the time, that the most critical time, right? When the world shut down, the only folks out there besides the doctors and nurses and that group right there were these truck drivers across America delivering goods. And we put them out there in harm's way, right? And we expected them to step up when the world was shut down. We expected them because we needed you. We deemed you essential, and Lonnie, you said it. We deemed you essential there to run around and take all the chances in the world, because producer, let's face it, they were these drivers. We didn't know nothing about this. Were they going out there and were they going to make it 6 months, 3 months? We didn't know any of that. Yet we deemed them and we said, we need you, make you essential. You go out there, and truck drivers, to their hearts, they were going to do it because they knew America needed them to go out there and do it. Just like what we're doing today in the supply chain, we're doing all we can. I know, you know, when we hear that the comments, you know, that we spoke about from the president before, say, step up. I'm here to say y'all have stepped it up already. You've done your fair share. You continue to do it. Not just you, the truck drivers, but the truck company, logistics companies. You're out there doing it today, making it happen. No doubt about it. And are we all of a sudden now willing to take a chance when we talk about it? Producer, you can pick up the magazine, a newspaper today, and I guarantee you on the front page of the paper or in the business section, it's going to talk about transportation, logistics, and how that crazy thing is messing up this industry right now, right? The shortage of drivers. And now you have, you know, American Eagle going out and buying logistics company to try and move their own freight. It's a mess out there. Why would you at this moment take a chance on making it worse? I mean, you can't do that right now. Who else do we have, sir?
Yeah, we also got Gerald Baker and then Toby Green after that. So what do you got for us, Mr. Baker?
Yeah, I was just curious what the implications for owner-operators is of this. Are we considered employees, or are we considered our own company with less than 100 employees?
Yeah, you are considered your own person with less than 100. You are not an employee. So the independent contractors out there, you're okay. You're not forced into this at all, unless you're a large independent contractor with greater than 100 employees. You're okay though. So that's, the independent contractors, they're going to be okay during this. They're not mandated at this moment by this ruling, right, or this mandate. And,
okay, I want to say I am fully vaccinated, and I've had no issues with it, and everybody that I know that has been vaccinated has had no issues with it. But each to his own.
Yes, sir. I'm fully vaccinated as well. No issues, but even before I was fully vaccinated, I had no issues too. I don't know what to say about that part right there. Hey, producer, give me some. Toby, is you next?
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Toby.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not getting it. If it means I got to get out of the industry, so be it. The thing with me is there's a bigger picture here that's being hidden from us all. If you want to find adverse effects from this, you have to go find it. They're hiding it from the public. That's why everybody's like, oh, I don't see it, causing this or that. There was a nurse in Tyler, fully vaccinated for the vaccine. She died of COVID. Like, they're not telling you this stuff. And I'm just not putting that in my body. And you got to think about, why are they doing this? Why are they mandating trucks? because they know there's going to be truck drivers quitting, leaving the industry. Grocery store shelves are going to be empty. There's not going to be gas. There's not going to be propane to heat your house in the winter. And that means the government will have to step in, and this is what they want. That's my opinion on it. I'm not gonna participate in it, but I'm glad to find out the independent contractors are exempt from this, because now I might be looking to lease purchase.
Yeah, right. I mean, and it makes you wonder. I mean, what is the game plan on this? Again, why over 100? What's the difference? And producer, I'll ask you, what's the difference in over 100 versus under 100? I mean, if you're mandating it, you're mandating it. Why distinguish? That doesn't make any sense either to me.
I think the only real, I guess, reason that you could put behind it is maybe they don't want to hurt small businesses too hard, I guess. I'm not really sure on it.
Yeah, I don't either. I struggle with the same answer. I don't know how to answer that question. I ask myself, I don't get it. It's either it's right or it's not. And I don't follow the thought process on greater than 100, less than 100. You're okay. But greater than 100, you've got it. We're going to mandate it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
99 is fine,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
not
right?
100.
Yeah, I know, right? You create a bunch of companies at 99 employees apiece, and you're okay. You don't have to do this part here. Producer, give me another call.
Yeah, we have David Mason on the line. What do you got for us, sir?
David Mason. Here's a guy smarter than all of us here. That's what I'm waiting on. David, talk to me.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I think it's everybody's choice.
Yep.
I think maybe the 100 just an arbitrary number, because when you think about a typical company with 100 employees, it's an office or a manufacturing style where people congregate more around each other, not necessarily the like a trucking company where there's less people in the office and everybody's spread out across the country. Maybe, I don't know. I just want to say, this might be a time where people actually do it. It might not. I don't know. But for 25 years out here on the road, we've all heard, when they get automatic trucks, I'm leaving this damn industry. Excuse my French. I'm sorry. But when they get cameras in the trucks, I'm leaving this industry. When they make me get a CDL and I don't get my chauffeur's license, I'm leaving this industry. When they make me stop using paper logs, I'm leaving this industry. I mean, there's a lot of people that are going to say right up to the point, I'm leaving this industry. But we don't know if they are. I mean, a lot of people are going to stick to their guns right up to that point, the same way they did with every other mandate that's come along. I just think that might be a way it goes too.
Yeah, you know what, David, that's a great point on that. But I will say this is what we've seen in the past when it came to the cameras, or the e-logs, is that typically what we do lose are that older group of drivers, right? The ones that said they're at that point that they're just looking for a reason. Is it time for me to retire? Do I stay in the industry? And that usually becomes something becomes a tipping point, and this may be that tipping point. And again, our industry's not getting younger. It hadn't got younger in years, decades. It's not getting younger right now. It continues to get older. Again, at age about 57 years old, what's going to happen to the older group of drivers that still have that flip phone, right? That don't quite understand the scanning aspect of it. Is this the tipping point that says, I am done, it's too much, and can we as an industry can we as a country afford to lose those drivers when our shortage is already there? We see the utilization backlog already. I've shown the freight out there, the rejections out there, the market's in turmoil. Why take a chance now on any of this? Why not just make this industry exempt? Because to your point as well, 100 employees or more, well, listen, they're scattered throughout the country. They're not in one place. It is a difference between a trucking company and a manufacturing site that even everybody reports to one place or two places. These are 100 or more, means that you have 100 individuals out there running in different places scattered throughout the country that you have to somehow now navigate a test on. It doesn't make any sense. I don't see how it's going to happen. I don't see how it's going to be successful. And I don't see how drivers or companies are going to survive during this. Trucking companies have to have productivity on these trucks. They don't have a choice. There's got to be a certain amount of revenue going into these trucks. And when this revenue is not happening, yes, you may not have a payroll issue right now. But trust me, that driver needs to get paid too. He's going to or she's going to go somewhere else. Now you have a truck sitting that's pulling no revenue in. Who are we really trying to protect on this? Because I see this devastating trucking companies and employees of these trucking companies, the drivers out there, as they have to find locations, lose miles, lose productivity, or maybe lose home time, lose sleep, take a chance on safety. Are we talking about that? Is the driver fatigue, is that more, isn't that just as important as this? Because now you're going to force drivers to probably drive a little bit more when they're worn out because they lost those hours through the week, through that day. We don't have them right now. Do we see that we're hitting 6.5 hours of their utilization today? And now we're going to take a chance and mess that up? Producer, give me another call.
Yeah, we got Tommy Jones, and then we got Toby Green again. So what do you guys got for us?
Hey, Rick, I had a question, but y'all pretty much answered it. Whenever I was going to ask about the trucking companies that got over 100 people, like you said, if they're all spread out, it's not like everybody's all in one place congregating at one time. So how could they make that mandatory unless you're all there at one time? That was what my question was, and y'all touched on it. So thank y'all for that.
Thank you, Tommy. I had a premonition there, so I knew that was, but you know what? I wanted to ask that question. I asked that question to myself when I was listening to y'all participate, and that's why we love the participation here on BCB Live. And I asked myself that question, I don't know how we're going to do it. I hope there's somebody out there or a system smart enough to make this happen and not lose utilization. Do we understand that if that truck's not running, that company will go out of business? Are we willing to take a chance on a larger company, a company with 150 trucks, losing 55 drivers to go somewhere else and work? Is that what we're after? Because that's what's going to happen. These companies have invested the money in technology, have invested money into safety and transportation. What happens to them? And I think we're chasing after the wrong thing. I don't think our leadership heard our trucking industry when we said it doesn't make sense. Do you know we're all over the place? Do you realize that we stop where we stop? Have you driven down the highway and seen we already don't have parking? Where in the heck are we going to park to go get a test? I asked that question. Where's that going to happen at? You're going to conveniently locate them at other truck stops that are already full of parking? Do you see us at the rest areas right now waiting for our brakes to get up? And when we start that day and we drive to that location that's conveniently located, you realize that we started our 14-hour day, that we're on the clock? There's no going back. Is there a fast pass to get the test? What are we going to do? Because we're going to lose major productivity. We're going to lose drivers in our industry. The larger companies are going to lose them to smaller companies, perhaps, and now are going to be set with a fixed cost that they can't pay. Our drivers aren't going to make this money up. Companies are going to lose a lot of revenue. Do we realize that the drivers, and I wish I had a map here, are spread out everywhere? Producer, give me another one.
Yeah, we got Toby Green. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I just kind of want to rebuttal to that comment before last. As far as people saying they're going to quit, want to go to e-logs, or going to quit for this or that. Yeah, this is a lot different. They're putting something in your body, and also people did quit. There's already a truck driver shortage out there. So people have quit over a lot of this stuff got out of the industry. I just want to rebut to that comment is all.
Gotcha. Thank you for that, Toby. And I'm going to try to, producer, I'm going to try to pull up a map here real quick. This is one of the the trucking companies that we have, that we just got this in. So bear with me here. Here we go. So we look at this map right now. And this is a company with about 400 trucks. And if y'all can see the map right now, everywhere you see a number or a truck is where a truck really is. And as we toggle a little bit closer, say into Denver or into Denver, Colorado area, you'll see 22 trucks sitting in there right now, and it starts speeding up. This is one company with 400 trucks. Do you realize that? It means we may possibly have to have sites set up for testing all of these places. Can you imagine the logistics nightmare? Are you watching me right now? Are you hearing me? How in the heck are we going to set up testing in all of these places? One company is all this is. One company with greater than 100 trucks. Here they are right now. You tell me, how do we do this? How do we create success around the compliance on going out and getting tested for all of these folks? And yes, the answer is, well, they're not all need to be tested. That's not my point. Is that this is where we're spread out. We're all over the place. How can we possibly do the impossible? And that, I believe, is what you're asking for this trucking industry. Not to just be heroes, not to just step up, but now you're asking us to do the impossible. That's what you're asking us to do. Producer, we got another one? All right. Hey, everybody. I just wanted to talk just a brief minute on that. Hey, join us this afternoon at 2 o'clock with some more BCB Live. And don't forget, tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. We'll see you then, and God bless.